Hello, Evangel and Pastor Ben. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this devotional. I'm going to be covering the New Testament this week, and one of the passages that I picked out specifically was 1 Corinthians 11, verses 17 through 22. This is talking about the Lord's Supper and the practices that are taking place in the Corinthian church. I'm going to start by reading. In verse 17, it says, "In the following directives, I have no praise for you, for your meetings do more harm than good. In the first place, I hear that when you come together as a church, there are divisions among you, and to some extent, I believe it. No doubt, there have to be differences among you to show you which of you have God's approval. So then when you come together, it is not the Lord's Supper you eat. For when you are eating, some of you go ahead with your own private suppers. As a result, one person remains hungry and the others get drunk. Don't you have homes to eat and drink in? Or do you despise the church of God by humiliating those who have nothing? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you? Certainly not in this matter." So in this passage, we see that Paul is not happy with the Corinthians church and their table practice. In verse 11:17, the apostle claims that their Lord's supper celebration is actually doing more harm than good to their community. Their church community is at fault. Paul accuses the sated and drunk of despising God's church and shaming those who have nothing. So, with that, we read this passage and we say, well, maybe I'm not getting drunk. Maybe I'm not. Well, this is an interesting piece because we're looking at the context of the Lord's Supper. But I wanted to take from this part of the division in the church, right? I didn't want us to be so focused on, well, I don't do that, I don't do that. I want to urge you because some of us may have critical mindsets, and that's just our nature, right? Maybe we see things and we want to make things better. Maybe we see something that somebody's doing and you're like, what the heck are they thinking? And yes, those thoughts are good, but we don't want to, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But we don't want to take that time to shame others for those things, right? We want to be unified as one body of Christ. So we can learn from what Paul's saying here, saying that they want us to be a church together, not a church of division, not blaspheming, and not shaming those that have nothing. Whether that's somebody that has nothing or somebody that has a lot, the message remains the same. There are church members here that we try our best, and that these congregation members try their best as well. Now, do I think that we all do this? No, but I think we can learn from this and say that there have been times for me that I realized that maybe I've been too critical. Maybe I've been too focused on maybe my way of making things better when I just need to allow God to do what God is going to do. So that's what I urge you guys today. I urge you guys to be together, unified as a church community, to be one that comes together and rejoices and enjoys life together, as opposed to being those that are struggling and those that have a critical eye or those that are blaspheming. Because I know that you guys are a loving church community, and I know that that is our nature. But I just want to remind you guys too that this is something that applies to us as we read in the New Testament. Thank you guys.